it's sort of like the head of the DNC being like a big hedge fund guy.
Hmm.
Like what? Like that doesn't represent me. That doesn't represent class politics. That represents the same donors that Republicans already have. So like when I was watching the Harris campaign, right? And seeing her go about it like saying the right things in the beginning, but then bowing down to like Mark Cuban and her brother-in-law or whatever Uber executive. Again, all I'm thinking is you guys are doing this the exact wrong way. So there's so many different examples of like the Dems like basically having the win in the bag and then just throwing the bag away because again, they're going up against opposition that is so easily beatable by just
Hmm.
clinging to class politics, but they won't do it. They
Right.
just won't do it. And even watching Cory Booker like doing these theatrics on the House floor and then voting for the same thing that he was yelling about and saying that he was against. I tend to agree with you that it just feels like a lot of these people are in it either for the money, the reputation, the popularity, book sales, which we're even seeing right now with Kamala Harris and much more. It like I have voted Dem on a harm reduction and I honestly don't know how much longer I could do it because they don't represent what I want to see any longer.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. One of the big things, I don't think we criticize like how horrible Bill Clinton was for the country enough. A lot of people are like, "Ah, oh, Bill Clinton's such a nice white boy with swagger." No, no. Bill Clinton had a horrible macroeconomic policy. And it's talked about as if it was a huge success that he balanced the budget. But what he did was by not introducing enough new dollars into the economy through the public sector, was he forced the private sector into debt, which created the conditions for the financial crisis that then a Democrat, Obama, was too afraid to introduce the fiscal stimulus necessary to correct for that. And so, because Democrats have been afraid to really have progressive macroeconomic policy, Democrats have become known for being bad for the economy. And a lot of people want to say that's not true. It kind of is. And I think we need to appreciate that. And I think it's why a lot of people are just done with Democrats. Not only, the scandal around the Clintons and Hillary and the Monica Lewinsky stuff, that was a whole thing. And then she ran for office and she was horrible. Of course, that's another problem too, is that it feels like it's been bad macroeconomic policy and people feel that even if they can't say what did it. And then it's also, why is what's leading among Democrats saying the right thing instead of doing the right thing? It's a lot of politics around like language and having the right idea, and then you're mean to people in your private life. I think people, that's how I think a lot of regular people see the woke movement. I don't think they see it as it was originally intended, as like, oh, we understand power structures and we're fighting for justice. It completely got like bastardized and changed
Yep.
intentionally by the right. That was what they wanted to do. But let's not be mistaken. There were people that thought activism was just forcing people to use the right pronouns. And who cares? Let's girl boss our way to Goldman Sachs, you know? That's an empty political movement.
No doubt about it. There was one poll, or maybe it was odds that I saw. Yeah, it was odds of who the next Dem nominee could be. So this is via Newsweek.
Nice.
I don't like any of this, but we could throw this up there and take a look. So let's see if I can make this a little smaller. There we go. So the leader in the clubhouse right now, per Newsweek, is JD Vance, and then Gavin Newsom, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Pete Buttigieg. In the first poll that I saw, Pete Buttigieg was actually ahead of these two. So I do find that to be interesting. Andy Bashir has been good except for Israel, which is very bad. And then Gretchen Whitmer, I mean, the whole charade of her covering her face at the Trump White House, pretty bad. I'm sure that'll leave a lasting impact on a lot of people. Shapiro, no. I don't even know why Trump is on here. That's an atrocity. I know why. I'm just saying he shouldn't be listed. Because of the
It's
freaking
Junior.
yeah, yeah, it's true. Like, why is Elon on here? No one wants to see Ron DeSantis anymore. Yada yada. As you're seeing this, what are your takeaways?
Where's Stephen A. Smith? Come on. He's our best guy. We gotta. Why aren't they polling for Stephen?
That is unbelievably funny. I'm gonna find his updated odds, but I believe he said I don't want to do it anymore. That was like maybe a month ago. But yeah, keep going.
I don't blame him. Yeah, I think it's crazy. I mean, JD Vance, terrifying. Has the tech elites backing him. Peter Thiel gave the largest donation to a single candidate in any Senate race in history to get JD Vance in office. He's handpicked by the tech elites of all people in a time where mass surveillance is on the rise to be the guy. Terrifying. And when AI is replacing jobs, JD Vance represents like a puppet of the tech elites, and we should see him that way. And I think he's at the top because of name recognition and because VP, he makes sense after Trump, so Republicans are going to pick him.
Are they though? Are they going to pick him?
Well, I think Republican voters out of these names will pick him. Will the Republican establishment want him to be the candidate? I don't know. I would like to believe that there are conservatives, and I say this right now, Rick, because the Wall Street Journal is reaching out to the sources that I included in my piece about flock surveillance. And so they're trying to write a story about the same thing I just wrote a story about, which I feel like is kind of messed up. But apparently that happens in journalism a lot. But I would like to believe this is because Rupert Murdoch cares very much about mass surveillance and would not like for it to happen because he's a classic conservative. Like, I want to believe there's conservatives out there that don't like the idea of techno-fascism. And so I hope they won't pick JD Vance.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could buy that, because if we've seen literally anything from almost any Republican, it is that there's a price. Yeah. That's all that it takes.
That's so true.
That's literally all that it takes. Oh, you're against it? Hey, you're against this bill. How about we bring you in a room with I'm not going to even say a name, but someone who is a member of the ultra rich party, and they're going to cut you a check for a campaign donation and continue to support you if you were to vote on this bill. Like the conditions that even went into those that needed a stipulation for the big, beautiful bill. I know, like, this is the most nakedly corrupt administration that I could remember since like Reconstruction. So as I'm thinking about this, like, I want to believe you. Okay. I want to believe you, but I just can't. Like, in this day and age, I just can't, because so many of them can easily, as we know, in our election system, in our political system, that anybody can be bought and paid for. That's all that it would take. So if it's an Alex Karp that comes in and says, hey, and I'm just bringing up a random name who's like somewhat anti-Trump, which is not even that much anymore. Like, hey, Thomas Massey, you're not in favor of surveilling. Here's a campaign donation. He'll switch. It'll just be like that in a heartbeat.
It's true. Yeah. And like, I don't even know for certain that very wealthy people like Murdoch or Warren Buffett don't like techno-fascism and would put money behind stopping it from happening. They might just move. So what are we going to do? Have Gavin Newsom run against them and say what? He's buddies with tech elites. He represents San Francisco as governor. Like, he makes deals with these people. He has dinner with them and fundraisers with them. So worst case scenario, in my opinion, is a Newsom JD Vance election. I would take Pete over Newsom.
Would you really?
I would. That sounds crazy, but I think he's critical enough about the potential of a future where like robots make all of our stuff, AI does a lot of the management, and people are left in squalor to try and survive in America. Like, I think Pete has a little bit of humanity left in him more than Gavin, and the bar's in hell, obviously, but that's how I see those two.
So true. I'm thinking about this because I we're so far away. Like,
Yeah.
we're dealing with shit every single day. I haven't even thought about who I would rather have between, the turd sandwich and the just total piece of shit. But I guess I'd rather have the sandwich because at least I get some carbs in there,
I
on
think
a lift day.
yeah. I think other people are running. I think
Like,
Roe's going to make a run for it. I think Ro Khanna is definitely gearing up for a run. He's way too available to the media to not be already running for president.
good
He showed
point.
up to a rural canvas door knocking in Iowa in 2019 for Bernie as a surrogate in a full suit, 6 a.m. That man is running for president. And then Gallego from Arizona, I'm going to sit down with him on the 9th, so Sunday, and ask him if he's running. But I think he is. Why else is he coming to the Iowa State Fair? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. He had a really terrible vote when it came to crypto. And he's
Ooh,
had some interesting votes as well. So
yeah.
I'm going to be really curious to read that. If it were to be among those candidates, I assume for you it would be Ro Khanna.
If there's no AOC, Ro Khanna, yeah.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
love to see like an outsider candidate, labor leader come in. Like, I would love to see Sarah Nelson. Sean Fain would be cool.
Yeah, Sean Fain, I
April
was thinking.
Verrett would be
Hmm.
great. The president of the SEIU. I really want to see people go from labor to running for office because, sure, they don't have a constituency of 400,000 people as a representative in the House, but they represent hundreds of thousands of workers. That experience means a lot, actually, maybe even more, because they actually have to fight corporate bosses, which is pretty much your job in the federal government.
Very true. I remember seeing some headlines like, should Sean Fain run after the Harris debacle and her losing? So I'm with you. They certainly have shown that they could organize and they're pro labor. So it's W's all around.